Official disclaimer that I, Mystic, am an employee of Wizards of the Coast on the D&D team.
Last time on Utopia podcast, the party went to a strange, arcane acropolis with a chest in the center. After going in to retrieve the chest, they began to fight a multiple-eyed, floating, bulbous creature. And in the middle of the fight is where we find the party.
As we go to Godfrey.
All right. Godfrey's hit with that necrotic damage, and it just adds to kind of the falling feeling in the pit of his stomach as he's looking through this and realizing that this wasn't a skeleton that was going to reanimate to fight him in this instance, that it was just a nothing, a thing that was a trinket. And he shakes for a moment and stands up, difficultly stumbling as he does so, seemingly his legs and arms not just like reeling from the necrotic damage that he's taken. But he stumbles over to this thing, and he's just going to reach with a hand on an eye stalk and just try to jam his fist as far into the center of this thing as possible.
Yeah.
What's with you and eyes?
19 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Or, let me just make sure. 6 points of non-magical bludgeoning damage.
Great. I need you and Ziba both to make dexterity saving throws.
Remembering that bardic inspiration.
Oh, that's cocked. I gotta count that as cocked.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna use that bardic inspiration here. 13 on both rolls ain't doing it. I don't know. I don't trust that. It's a 6 or an 8?
6.
D6. Actually, is
17.
no, it's
13.
a 1d8.
It is a 1d8.
Because I
better not roll lower than a 4. Nice. Yeah, that's 21.
Okay. Ziba, you're able to get out of the way just in time as this creature seems to implode and then explode with the magical energy it has been holding within it. As Godfrey takes 10 force damage, and Ziba, you will take 5 force damage. This creature,
I remembered Livy's encouraging words.
is dead, and you are out.
Godfrey hits the tree behind him and slumps down motionless.
Morgus is immediately going to, with, I believe, a bonus action.
You're not in initiative any longer.
Yeah, Morgus is immediately going to, he'll almost like clap his hands, and as he does, he's going to pull one of those sort of golden thread spheres, and it's going to expand to be within 30 feet of him, which Godfrey is in. And for the next minute, I have 2d6 I can add as healing for a bonus action. I am casting Aura of Vitality. In that, there's almost going to be this blur of time. The ravages of the wounds on your body start to close themselves. I essentially have 20d6 to spread in the next minute across people as I see fit. So whoever has taken damage, I will roll 2d6 at a time. The first couple is going to Godfrey. That's 8. The next couple is also going to Godfrey. That's another 7, so you're up 15. Now you're up another 9.
I'm good.
Okay.
Does this take?
Now you're up another 9. So who else was hit who's within 30 feet of me right now, Ziba?
I'm a little hurt, but not a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple.
Ziba has a very
Zilla was hurt a lot.
good point. Godfrey, does this healing take?
Oh, try not to
It should.
Damn.
I mean, but that's ultimately up to you. This doesn't have the same qualifications that Cure Wounds or Lay on Hands has.
Okay.
Morgus is trying. This is healing at a distance as I try to move over to him. The effect of the spell.
Yeah, I mean, healing by reversing time is certainly different than healing by divine guidance.
That's my flavor for this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my interpretation for how Morgus got these spells is that he has worked out the way to do this. So I'll leave that up to you.
Godfrey, you heal.
And Morgus just sort of
Yeah.
walks over, and this sort of dome of gold thread that's glowing. As I walk over to you and you enter the effect, Morgus's voice almost echoes. You're all right, Godfrey. You need more.
No, I think I'm quite fine. There's a little bit of a tumble. Bit of a backacher.
All right.
Bit of what the fuck was that?
There.
I'm gonna poke it.
Morgus will let
It goes,
the magic dissipate, and it all sort of fades away.
a big old, like, snake-like tongue rolls out of its mouth as it expels air when Ziba pokes it.
What was that thing?
I apologize for the state of the treasure chest. There was a skeleton in it. I thought for sure it was going to be like the skeletons down in the church and just start attacking us. It had snakes in its hair and it had cloven feet, and I didn't want to mess with whatever that could be.
What was the size of the skeleton?
I mean, it's still in there.
Livy looks.
It's just shredded bones, but you would imagine that anything that would fit into this box would be a child or very small person.
I'm gonna take a look at the box for markings of any kind.
There's no markings.
Do I know what gods what gods have cloven feet?
I don't know. Let me look up something.
Look into the lore.
Did that? Is it gone? Is the big swirly and the magical energy? Did we? Was that it? Did we do it?
Did we do what? What's the... You talking about the
Did we
barrier?
get rid of? Yeah. Was that it? Were we successful?
I mean, it was just sort of the whole thing that came out of, and then the chest inside, so I would imagine, perhaps.
I don't think you do, Livy. At this point, as you all say this, you hear this soft, almost sound like powering down as the walls of light fall, the illusions on the pillars fall, the stone itself starts to crumble, and you hear, almost as if it's coming from where the creature came, a deep masculine voice yelling, "No." And slowly the portal closes.
This feels like a silly question, but have I ever heard anything like that voice before?
if you want to push yourself to try and remember past what you can consciously remember in your current form, I'll let you roll a history and a constitution saving throw.
Yeah, I'm doing that. That sounds like a fun D&D button to push. Which first?
History.
History, okay. History is a total of 14.
Mm-hmm.
And con save now is a natural 20 plus 6 for a 26.
Need that now.
You have a flash
Uh-oh.
of a memory
Uh-oh.
in a jungle, strolling down a path of clay, kind of sticks to your boots. And as you look down for the first time, a lot of these visions you've seen your hands, you've been interacting with things, you've been looking at your surroundings, but you never really evaluated yourself. You look down, you're taller than you are now. Your legs are longer. And you look up and you see a large brown-furred minotaur with big ivory horns, black-tipped, strolling hand in hand with a woman with snake hair. And you know them to be Arudi and Medusa. And you come back.
Excuse me.
You're all right. A lot of coughing.
Oh, God.
I, sort of inhaled my own. He swallows. Well, the rest of you fuckers will be happy to know that I was once taller than I am now, so fuck all of you for that. But
What?
I think the voice was from Erudi and this here. Did you gave me the names, right, Sierra?
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This was Medusa.
No, I think this was their child. They were married.
Uh-oh.
That's somehow worse.
Garrikias caws at you all from the tree.
What is it, Garrikias? We've been through a lot right now.
The pillars begin to shift as those eyes glow, looking upon you all still.
Just because the portal is closed doesn't mean the alert system isn't still on us.
I mean, we've done what we came to do. Should we go?
That's probably a good call.
What are we going to do with... And Godfrey gestures at the chest.
It would be respectful to bury them.
We shouldn't just leave it out here.
Leave the kid protected by that thing.
I agree with Libby. I think we should bury it.
Sorry, I struggled to hear your suggestion, Ziba.
It's just like, who left? I guess I'm not familiar with their burial practices, but why would you leave your kid rotting with that thing for that long?
I don't know.
It is likely a guard to prevent people from grave robbing.
Have I ever read about or heard of anything like this creature? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Could it be that we've just severely desecrated a great gravesite that was protected from intrusion.
Yes, I think that's exactly what we did.
Why was the gravesite killing everything?
It perhaps was guarded by... I don't know. It's
Were they
likely
trying to bring
that
him
whatever
back?
that monster was secreted necrotic damage, and it was just a byproduct. So the grass around it, and the life around it, died.
But we've seen sigils before where the surroundings killed everything. Or they died.
Yes. That was also with the fake Mysheria.
Morgus is
Yeah,
gonna
the
think.
people-
Sorry.
The people who were with the Infernal. Similar groups, I imagine.
I think we should show it some respect and put it to rest.
I agree.
Yeah. It's the least we can do.
Anyone got a
This
shovel
one
on
didn't
them?
try to kill us.
Godfrey, was there anything else in the chest besides the corpse of a child?
Well, there were the gems that I have left in there. Removing them from my inventory now.
Goes back.
So you like pull them out of your pocket and drop them back in? Is that what's happening?
No, I imagined he was like punching into it and he grabbed the gems and like lifted them up, expecting there to be like resistance or magical force, but then he got hit by the necrotic damage and dropped them back in the chest.
Yeah.
That is what happened. Yeah, so let's, Olivia, like, picks a spot. I'm assuming the barrier's still active.
Mm-hmm. Wherever you move around the clearing, the pillars shift so that the eyes can follow you, all four of them.
We could either put it back where it belongs. Ooh.
Well, I mean, we killed the alarm, but do we think that this, Scylla gestures to the barrier, is going to protect it if we put it back relatively where it was?
Sorry, the barrier has fallen.
Ah, the barrier's
Yeah.
fallen.
Is there still something active?
The eyes of the pillars are still shifting
Oh.
and following you.
Okay.
I think at the very
Yeah.
least we should bury it where it can be watched.
Yeah, we should bury them. Lizzie
Well-
points to the tree he was hiding behind.
Just one. There's one thing I'd like to check. Before we do this, this is a good idea, but Morgus is going to try to step up onto the platform, and I want to
can
take a
do so.
look, like where the chest was, if there's any markings or anything that would indicate that this magic could be, like, started up again potentially.
You don't see anything. You just see the scrapes on this same black stone from where Godfrey pulled the chest.
It was worth a look. I think that's our best option.
All right. Libby, do you see anywhere?
Yeah, this tree I was hiding behind is easily watchable by the eye. Just a nice, quiet little spot.
Scylla goes over, and obviously she doesn't carry around like a gardening shovel, you know, that one would need to like dig the depth of like a hole, even for like a child's casket. So I think instead I'm going to take my long sword and kind of start like punching in squares and kind of digging out square at a time, enough that we could sort of lay this adequately to rest.
Godfrey will help with a dagger that he has, just to break up the dirt.
Can Morgus help with a bit of mage hand?
Mm-hmm.
Try to just help to scoop, and also just to make a border and help to scoop.
Takes you maybe a half an hour and about an hour with those mediocre tools. Yeah, go ahead, Libby.
Would Shatter do it?
No. It would just make the earth loose. You'd still have to move it.
Thing that Shatter can't do.
Technically, Shatter can dig a grave, just not in the way we think.
It's probably
more of a
10. Go ahead.
It's more of a figurative than a literal application.
More of a dig to kind of thing.
It's probably 10:30 in the morning at this point.
Feels right.
What's Ziba doing?
I think that while they're digging this hole, Ziba would probably just, not having the tools to contribute, walk up beside them and maybe try to start some commentary if others are open to it. It would be like, what do you think happened to them? I mean, I know kids can die. That's... Even I have experience with that at this point, but I don't know. Still gives me just a weird feeling.
I don't know. All I know
Godfrey.
is that they were clearly loved.
Yeah.
I need you to give me an intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
What?
As Godfrey is digging this grave and Ziba's making this commentary, anyone with a high enough passive perception, I think, would notice that kind of the silver bands along the intricacies of his mask start to glow very faintly. It's a 4 on my intelligence saving.
That's one fail.
What do
And
we
then they
mean
quickly
by
dim.
high enough passive perception?
14 or
Your
higher.
choice.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that's not me. So what happens to the mask? Sorry.
Just the silver inlay glows very dully for a moment before fading back in.
Just trying to
Horrifying.
ask an innocent question.
Go ahead. You're still asking it, Ziba.
I'll say it might just be sickness. Sometimes, no one's immune to it.
Yeah. I know my mom said we lost some siblings when they were young, but I don't ever feel like I really got the chance to know them.
Only
They
child.
were just-
But my parents lost a lot of siblings during the Invisible War. They didn't want a really big family because they didn't want to have me go through that.
This was all well before the war. I mean, the stone here, it's older than the war. This place was put here or constructed 200 or more years ago.
It has to be a very long time because they do not like each other anymore. Medusa tended to not believe in monogamy as well as our good old Earth God did.
Well,
The-
considering that information, the flash that I had a moment ago, this, I would imagine we understand why they don't. Why there's animosity between them. There's more to the story. But I would imagine that a loss like this would drive quite a wedge between people, potentially. Even if they are gods.
Give me another save, Godfrey.
9.
It's another fail.
Well, does this mean that even gods could die?
I don't know.
Where do they go then? I used to always have the solace of saying that those who we lost would be with my Shiria, but it's alright, let's finish this hole.
So it's just been listening and focusing on finishing getting this very small grave completed.
You get it cleared and gets big enough and deep enough. Remember, once you can bring the chest over, place it
Godfrey
into
will.
the hole.
Has anybody ever spoken at something like this?
All too many times.
I know
Is there
that
anything you
I've...
want to say?
Your child, whose name is lost to the sands of time. We may not know why you've been taken from us, or who you could have become, but know you are loved, and you were loved, and we are sorry, and this is the least we can do.
One more save, Adam.
9.
That's 3 fails. I think the mask glows that silver. And it cracks just a smidge up at the top by your forehead. You don't feel any pain. There's no repercussions, at least not from the magic that's holding you, your soul, your spirit in the mask.
Alright, we should continue on then, right?
I don't think there's anything else we can do here. We've done more than enough.
You cover the chest. And in the time that it takes you to finger the dirt back over top of the chest and fill in, the mask is healed. For anyone that wouldn't have noticed. It's about 12:30 at this point, probably. You all were taking your time.
Well, late day, but Should we get going?
We should keep moving.
It's wise.
Whoever wants to can give me a survival check to get y'all back to the road.
Not
Siva!
You want me to? You want me to?
Yeah.
I have a great track record. What I do with my D&D
Before you roll, can Morgus send Bitsy up into the air to try to at least get a general direction?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Bitsy
Okay.
can help provide the help action for Siva.
Okay.
So you can roll with advantage.
You know what? You
That's
know
Hey.
The dice give it and the dice take it
We
away.
all make mistakes, but sometimes we get it right.
I feel like it's extra easy to follow back because there's sword holes leading the way. Like, it's literally a trail.
Yeah.
You make it back to the crumbled stone creatures and the nasty bugs that you killed, and then you can follow the poke holes from Ziba's sword back to where you made camp, which was right next to the road. Continue on to the road for the next few days. You head past the pseudo-dragons. I think you all remember about when those pseudo-dragons are going to approach. How would the party like to make it past those pseudo-dragons?
Livy takes out his lyre and
Yeah.
makes
Give
the
me a
flag.
performance check.
Let's see.
Oh yeah.
6.
They love it. They sleep, and you all can walk easily through. With the extra time, takes you 2 more full days to get there, unless you would like to push through an evening.
This is a downtime thing, but I think we have enough time for this. On one of these evenings that we are traveling, I think Morgus will rediscover a spell scroll that he's had in his pack for a very long time.
Mhm.
Can we say that I would have transcribed that spell into my spell book with my weird little wiry crystal components that I use to inscribe spells
yeah.
into it? That will
Mhm.
cost me 50 gold because it's of the first level. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you. I now have Thunderwave.
Would anyone else like to do anything or RP anything before we get to Webston?
Livy's writing letters.
Did we ever establish if I worked out what the ring that I've been wearing around me does?
I believe we said in our session 0.2 that Scylla was going to ask someone in town what it does. So I do believe
Cool.
that Scylla knows what it does now.
Perfect. So I don't need to spend the time working that out. Okay.
Which it makes Scylla invisible for as long as she can hold her breath.
Does. And I think it gives me... Oh, I get a little bit of a stealth buff,
Mm-hmm.
which is sweet. I'm going to need that because I got chunky armor.
Chonky armor.
Chonk, chonk.
Clang, clang, clang goes my armor. Every
Anyone
time we
else?
try to stealth.
Doing
Bang,
anything.
bang, bang goes the sword.
There's a couple conversations that I think Godfrey wants to try to have.
Yeah.
One would be with Morgus and one would be with Scylla. I'm not sure if these would be conversations in like the whole of the party or like on watches when other members were asleep.
Yeah, I think if we're trying to have some sort of like long rest, I would be down for that.
Morgus
So-
would too, probably on a watch.
Okay. Guess for Scylla, you would be taking your watch, and Godfrey would kind of sit down next to you. I couldn't shake how you reacted when praying to my Shiria before we left.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You reacted to something in a way that kind of betrays what I know of my Shiria in some way. And I just want to know if you know more about my Shiria than I do.
I mean, how much does anybody ever know about these things?
I could sit here and tell you everything I know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Couldn't hurt, right? I mean,
Would you do the
what
same
do you
in
know?
return? Would you do the same in return?
Yeah, of course. It couldn't hurt, right?
And Godfrey will list like the things that he knows about my Shiria and the things that he grew up learning, like really sticking to every time he's prayed, hearing the follow your heart. And that's the my Shiria I grew up knowing. If this is different than the one you know, then I think that it's something we need to talk about, considering our trajectory right now.
I mean, yeah, it's a little bit different, but I don't see what that has to do with how that changes our trajectory. I mean, I think I grew up hearing different things. I mean, my family was into it, but I don't. Do you think my beliefs mess with the trajectory of what we're doing?
I don't know yet. You know, before a couple months ago, this was all above. This was something that, you know, you pray to and you believe, and it is something that helps you get through the day, and now it is very real. And there are gods walking amongst us that do terrible things. And I just need to be aware that we're not waking up another terrible thing by finding my Shiria.
I mean, I think the nature of all of these things is that they're all a little bit terrible. It's why we do the good that we do, right? If things weren't a little bit terrible, we wouldn't do good.
I've never heard any terrible things about my Shiria.
But not
What do you
terrible.
know?
But balance, you know?
And please, tell me the balance.
I mean, I don't. My parents talked about balance and life and creation, and then of course the other side of that is the ending of that and the death of that, and that's just the part of it, and the cycle of all things. You know, my Shiria is the determination of the end of that. And the closing of that cycle. And Scylla sort of looks at you looking for something.
You just see the mask staring back.
I think you see in her some sort of reflection. As she looks to you, she starts looking a little bit through you and talking and thinking about the things that she just said to you. Are these things that she puts stock in? Are these things that she's not just recalling? But I think you see her start to recoil a little and become a little less forthcoming as she reflects.
Thank you, Zilla. I didn't mean... Things have just been a little weird lately.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're here.
No. Hey, listen, it's nothing I didn't hear growing up. You know, I just, I sort of thought, you know, that was sort of behind me, when I came to the court. So I'm sorry if I didn't give you, the answer you were looking for, but I hope I can. I hope I can.
No. I think we all deserve the ability to leave some things behind. And it was not my intention to bring those up, if that is not the path you wish to walk anymore.
Hey, Godfrey? What if, when you try to leave them behind, they come back anyway? Can you really leave it behind?
I guess in the leaving behind, it's not an abandonment of who you used to be, but a reconciliation that that's who you were and this is who you are now. That no matter what, who you are now is built on who you were, even if that's not who you want to be.
I think, Scylla, as you are reflecting in this, you remember this moment as a child. It happened like once a month, where your mom would ask you and your sister to go out into the backyard to get a chicken. And you all would do it. It became a norm for you. And you'd bring that chicken back in, only to then have your mother cut off its head, pluck out its feathers, pull out the heart, capture as much blood as she could, place the heart on an altar to my Shiria, pour the blood over it, and say a prayer with you all to ensure that death did not take you for another month. And one time you mentioned that to some kids in town you were playing with, and they ran away screaming, saying that that's not how you pray to my Shiria. Harkening back those feelings that you've been having from Godfrey.
I think if we're sitting long enough, I may give the sugar-coated versions of those to Godfrey as we're sort of sitting out the rest of this watch. As the memories sort of come back to me and I recall them more vividly, I think the version that I tell is just slightly sanitized. You trust me though, right?
I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't have asked you the things that I have.
You know, I believe that.
That's an awful lot to take in. You know, I don't think you've referenced your family a lot, but only in passing, and you don't have to tell me about them. You don't want to.
I'd rather not. You know, sometimes...
Let's not.
Yeah, sometimes families, their job is to have you and grow you to a point, you know?
Well, this looks the end of your watch.
Yeah, I'm sorry and thank you, I guess.
You don't need to apologize.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go get Morgus, I guess. And she'll head off, still looking a bit dissociated, and wake up Morgus very gently.
I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume, Godfrey, that after that type of conversation with Scylla, perhaps the conversation with Morgus would happen on a different night. There are multiple nights of traveling that we are skipping and montaging. So before we get to that, Livy or Zip, are there any RP moments in travel that you all would like to take advantage of? Not necessarily with each other, but just as a person.
I'm gonna try sneaking some reading time in with those books I stole that hopefully were not damaged by the goo.
Not damaged. They are still readable, and you can certainly... What do you mean by sneak? Like, you don't want anyone else to know that you're reading them?
Well, I got the woodworking book, and then I'm gonna put the lore book in the woodworking book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Bookception.
give me a stealth check as this happens at night while y'all are around the fire. You just have to beat everyone's passive perception.
Can I meet it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can meet it. Meets it, beats it. It's a 16. Scylla doesn't notice.
Yeah.
My passive perception is 16.
She said meets it, beats it.
Meets it, beats it. Morgus, is 16 passive perception?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Nice.
No one notices.
Really into woodworking, guys. I gotta, build lot beds, Murphy beds and stuff, but that takes a lot of... Sure, there's math involved there.
Yeah. Which book are you focusing on first in this check?
It was like, I'm trying to read this the Seder book.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like cultures and traditions and beliefs. I believe is what it's about.
Yeah. There's something in that Seder book that really catches you. In the beginning of Burm, there is a festival that happens. A gathering of satyrs to dance and show their physical prowess, their mental prowess, their charismatic prowess. It's said to be in the middle of a wood somewhere in a secret location. And it is around the current time that this would be taking place, according to the book.
So they snuck out to party. I know. Kids these days. Okay. Take notes. In the book, because I am a book defiler, that's where you take the notes.
They are revelers. They are partiers. They are fake creatures that like to dance and have a good time.
Is there any more information about where this kind of happens or where this takes place?
It just says in a woods.
In a what? Come on! You gotta get a different book. Any other fun facts? No?
That's the most important one.
Alright. It's gonna take me a while to read this, man. Zippa's not a reader, so...
You learn that, satyrs do have to trim their hooves as a part of their personal grooming regimen. That their horns don't come in until they're at least 10 years old. And then there's a party when it happens.
That's a genuine question. Do the satyr have horns?
What? The satyr you found did have horns. Yes, she did.
Okay, older than 10. That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Now I'm more concerned about how they died, actually.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Sneaky reading. Livy,
Mm-hmm.
what? Oh, you had something in mind that Livy would be doing during travel?
He has been writing letters a lot, specifically towards the princess, and also sometimes the king just does like general reports, like yeah, we're still heading. Like we haven't noticed any armies or anything like that, but mostly to the princess. He's been fulfilling his promise, and he's not particularly trying to hide it. So if anyone were to like look at the letter, they would see who he is writing to. He seems to struggle sometimes with finding the correct words. He doesn't seem to be particularly used to writing letters. Especially about... Sorry, my cat.
Artemis!
Artemis!
Especially about my cat.
Especially about my cat.
Yeah.
Artemis.
Yes.
That's all they wanted.
That's all I wanted. They're fine now. Yeah. We're just gonna do this for a bit. Sorry, guys.
Find your avocado, your pits. You bring them out and scritch their bellies.
Yeah, okay. And now we're gonna. Sorry. Oh, you wanted food?
Silly kitty.
Okay.
Struggling
But yeah,
with writing
especially-
letters.
Of such a sensitive nature, Artemis. But they struggle with like writing letters of emotional letters, especially with someone they haven't known for a particularly long time.
Are you seeking out people on the road to take the letters back to Florencia as you're walking,
Yeah.
or are you just holding them all until you get to Winston to mail them?
If he sees like people on the road to deliver letters, he will definitely ask. Like, I'm not sure how your world works. Like, if there's just like like people who like are milling about the road who do that. I don't know if there's a
They travel the
UPS
road just
system.
like everyone else. Can roll a percentile, see if you run into one.
100%, 48%, 48.
Nope, you don't run into one.
Okay. So yeah, Lily's gonna be doing that. He's gonna be keeping all of the letters in just a giant stack.
Nice. All right. Godfrey and Marcus.
also, I wanna-
Yeah.
Sorry. I also just I think Livy would have touched base with Morgus on if he was okay. Because that was a lot. Hey,
How would you check in?
Not
with
Morgus.
Marcus?
Godfrey, my brain.
There you go.
You got there.
I got
got
there
this. You're doing
eventually. Thank you. Hey, Godfrey. That was a lot. Specifically about Nyx and the gods, and I wanted to make sure you were doing all right.
I mean, I'm doing about the same. It's not like I'm spiraling worse. I appreciate the check-in. Noticed you've been writing a lot of letters.
Yeah, I promised the princess I would check in with her.
Godfrey looks over. How tall is this stack of letters at this point? Like 2-3 days into the road.
It's sizable. He's been writing a letter. He wrote a letter just before they left. He wrote a letter that night. And yes, he's been writing quite a few.
I would say
Whenever
there's
they have,
probably 7 letters in the stack.
Just checking in. You're giving a detailed play-by-play of our entire adventure.
You know, I promised I would send a lot of letters. You gotta keep your promise to princesses, you know? Livy, like, is rubbing his neck and seems very nervous.
There's a little bit more like bluish purple that forms into Livy's cheeks.
Yeah. He's not the best liar.
You blushing?
Am I? I've suddenly
stop
become
your
blind
heartbeat?
again. I can't tell.
I'm sorry, have things developed between you and the princess? Are you
No.
an item?
I don't think so. Her dad,
Oh.
I think, is kind of pushing for that, but we're not. We went on maybe a date, a little bit. It's
We
weird.
went on maybe a date. How is it maybe a date?
We didn't say it was a date.
Well, what did you do?
You know, we just went to the library and went shopping around town, and then watched the sunset on a boat while eating food.
I'm sorry, did you say on a... You hate the water. We had to pull nails to try to get you onto a boat earlier. You went on a boat with her?
She's never been on a boat.
Livy, look, if I had to give my expert opinion, you're an item, and that's a fine thing. That's a great thing. How does it make you feel?
Like she's a princess? And a
No. How does it make you feel?
I am not nervous. I guess I haven't been part of a relationship since, and he like rubs his neck. Well,
Right.
my last relationship was my professor.
Well, I will not make any more comments about the amount of letters you're writing. That is a sufficient amount of letters, I believe.
Thank you. It's nice. She's nice. I am not sure how to do this correctly.
But just be honest. Be yourself.
I told her about me. You know, I felt that was due, but I didn't tell her about her father. And that feels a little dishonest to start a relationship knowing that she is a demigod. She does not. Is she a demigod? I have no idea how that works.
Sorry, maybe I'm lost. I wasn't in all of the rooms when you were talking with... His name's Reem, right? That's the king's name.
I feel like, out of character, I feel like we would have told.
I think
Yeah.
Godfrey specifically was trying not to listen when you were talking about
Oh
stuff.
shit, that's Ed. That's Ed's bad.
No worries.
Yeah, you know,
Can that be stricken from the record?
Redacted.
It has been a while.
Redacted.
Redacted. Yeah, there's just...
I mean, if you're conflicted about it, why not just tell her in one of your letters?
Yeah, it's just... difficult. How did we get to talking about me? This was supposed to be talking about you.
Was it?
You sneaky son of a bitch.
I think that's a
There's no
perfect
visual
segue.
indication of the smile. Yeah, under the mask.
That is it. Thank you so much for listening to episode 7 of season 2 of Utopia. I hope you had a great time. We're almost to Wimston, y'all. If you're enjoying it, why not invest in Ko-Fi? Subscribe to our Twitch, our YouTube, like this video on YouTube, follow us on the socials. Ottoman Studios got some big stuff going, brewing in the background, more shows, more content. You don't want to miss it, right? Intro and outro by Nolan Clock. Everything else by myself and the cast. Hope you have a great day.